What's going on, guys? We're here today with Shaun Davis. For those of you that don't know, Shaun specializes in rent to rent, mainly social housing.
Yep.
So social housing, rent to rent.
Yeah. So basically rent to social housing.
Yeah. And you've also got just normal HMO rent to rents as well.
Yeah.
Okay, wicked. So anyone that's really interested in rent to rent, this is the podcast that you need to listen to. You need to watch this because we're really going to get into it today. I'm going to ask you some difficult questions, Shaun, and we're going to ask you how you got started.
Yeah.
And your journey to over 400 rooms now.
Yep.
Wow, it's crazy. That's a lot of rooms.
Appreciate it, man. Thank you.
So can you kind of intro yourself to the audience?
Yeah, man. So yeah, Shaun Davis. Started a business, property business, just over, in fact, nearly 5 years ago now.
Okay.
So it's been a journey. And essentially, I started rent to rent and just dealing with like normal professional HMOs because I almost seen it as like a low barrier to entry model into property.
Shaun, do you think it's time?
I don't know, Don't know. I don't know if they're ready.
I've got a feeling, I think this is the time.
Really?
Yeah. I think we should tell him.
Are you sure?
Yeah.
All right, cool. Let's do it. So Luigi Newton is now officially a partner and director of the High Performance Academy.
So myself and Shaun Davis are running a mastermind group. Now, to become a member, there is a monthly cost to this, but it's very affordable. And you get fortnightly Zooms, regular meetups, a WhatsApp group chat, and access to myself and Shaun. We're also doing a retreat in Marbella. So stay tuned for that, and I'll let you continue with the rest of the podcast.
There's never been a better time to join the High Performance Academy. So if you're serious about elevating your mind, health, and wealth, now is the time to join.
It is. Guys, you can reach out to you can reach out to me. Just get in contact, guys, and we'll send you some details. But Shaun, super exciting.
So before I was in property, I was selling cars. It's for like a premium brand, BMW. It was good. I enjoyed it. Learned a lot actually working in the corporate world. But the issue is you had to be there to make the money. That was the issue. And for me, I always wanted to have my own business. I always wanted to be able to make money essentially while I'm sleeping. And before I got into property, I'd done the maths. So I thought, okay, I want to leave my job, and I've always known property is a good thing to get into. I've always been quite passionate about property. So I was thinking, okay, right, so I'm going to have to buy a house. I'm going to have to find 60, 70 grand. Obviously, back then I didn't know about BRRs or raising finance. I didn't know that was possible. So in my head, I was just thinking, raise finance, raise like 70K, and then go and get a buy-to-let. I didn't know what a HMO was at the time. So I thought the only way to do it is to go and get a buy-to-let.
Okay.
So I'm thinking, okay, I'll do all that. Then when I worked it out, I thought, I'm going to net like £300 off this buy-to-let. So I'm thinking, wow, okay, well, how many like 60 or 70,000 pounds am I going to need to raise to be in a position where I've got enough income to basically leave my job?
Okay.
So that was the first thing I thought, and I thought, actually, okay, that's not going to work for me right now. So I thought, I then discovered rent to rent, I discovered HMOs, and that was just literally a game changer. And it's evolved into social housing now.
Yeah. So just to break it down for people that might not know, what is rent to rent? How does it work?
Yeah, man, good question. So the way I like to explain it is, you got to think about like Uber. So Uber owns no cars, it controls the cars. Airbnb owns no properties, controls the properties. These are billion-dollar companies. So there's a lot of power in controlling. Rent to rent is essentially you're doing that. So think about a business or your high street shops. Most of the buildings that you see people running businesses from, they don't actually own the building. They find the developer. They do a long-term commercial lease on the property, and then essentially they run their business from that property. That's what rent to rent is. What I'm doing, I'm finding the property, but I'm going in there solving a problem. So maybe like a property that needs a bit of refurbishment, a little bit of cosmetic work. Maybe the landlord's struggling to rent it out. And essentially, I'm going to the landlord and solving the problem. Like, okay, look, what we can do, we'll lease this property off you for like long term, like 5 years. Some of them as well, what we like to do is tie in something called a lease option on the end of it. So it means we have the option to buy it at the end. They're not my favorite ones because we get to lease the property over 5 years, and at the end, we've got an asset that we can keep at the end as well.
Okay.
So that's a game changer. So we find these properties. And then what we'll basically do is some of them will already be a HMO licensed. Some of them won't be. Some of them will just be a normal single let. We'll turn it into a HMO, make it compliant, get a license if we need to. If we're doing social housing, we don't actually need a license anyway. and then we'll take it from there
Okay.
and just run our business from it.
Yeah, because I think for the people that have been following my channel, they might know what I kind of do is I buy the properties and convert them into HMOs. So what you've just said there is basically you lease the property and sometimes you'll do a full HMO conversion.
Yeah.
So making it fully compliant.
Correct. Yeah.
Within that conversion, obviously, you know, a lot of the time when I'm doing up these HMOs, it's costing me on the smallest 4-bed ones, you know, 20 grand minimum, just to make it kind of HMO compliant and in decent condition.
Yeah.
So what does your typical refurb budget come in at per deal?
Okay. Yeah, good question. So unlike a tip, so I'll give you an example. So I've just done a 5-bed that we're turning to social housing. And to that one, that's in Birmingham. That one, I've done that for about 7K all in.
Okay.
Yeah.
So did it already have the fire doors?
No. So the good thing, one of the good things is now is that because we've got such a lot of projects going on at the same time, I've got like a full-time maintenance team that works with me. So so I do get things a lot cheaper.
Yeah.
So for instance, we had to obviously get the interlinked smoke alarms. That cost me about £1,100 to get it done. Then we had to get emergency lighting. Again, that was about £800. Then we had to get fire doors. Fire doors costed me, I think it was around £250 a door.
Okay.
So do you know what I mean? So it wasn't actually that much. And then we got the property. In fact, the property was cosmetically it was in very good condition already. It was a very nice property. So
was it already laid out as a 5-bed?
Yeah, already laid it as a 5-bed. So I didn't have to knock through no walls.
Yeah.
I don't mean like rebuilding the property essentially. I just want to make it compliant so that we can just run our business from there.
Okay.
And it's a game changer for the landlord because the landlord now, he's been able to for the next 5 years, he doesn't have to worry about nothing. I mean, I can then house 5 vulnerable people.
Yeah.
They'll get the help and support they need.
Yeah.
And then it's a win-win for everyone.
Okay. So do you do like high-level refurbs in terms of visually? Would you say that the properties when you do them up, are you trying to go for the hotel finish, or is it a different market?
Yeah, no, we're not trying to go for the hotel finish. But what we're doing, we are changing the game for social housing. So social housing, the average standard is shocking, really, really bad. We'll get modern carpet if it needs. So like some of the properties take on have like green carpet or bright red carpet, stuff like that. We'll put like dark grey carpet. It's nice and neutral. We'll change the furniture as well. And we'll paint the walls white. We'll put like a feature wall as well. We'd like to do that. White walls, feature wall. And you'd be surprised just by doing that. It doesn't cost a lot of money to do that. It makes such a big difference to like the look and the interior of the property. Also as well, dressing your beds as well, accessorizing the property, accessorizing the rooms.
So important, isn't it?
Oh man, like massively. I never understand when you go on like somewhere like spare room and then you see like the worst pictures.
No bedding.
No bedding. Stains on the mattress. Like it doesn't make sense to me. So, and landlords are still getting away with that. So it shows you that the standards, and that these are like professional houses. Yeah. Do you know what I mean? Social housing properties are like, I'll be honest with you, some of them won't even let my dog stay there. They're that bad. So my values for social housing essentially is, you can't tell. If you was to come to one of my professional properties, to one of my social housing properties, you wouldn't be able to tell the difference. Okay. The standard is exactly. We're from a house and a doctor. Yeah. We've got some professional, especially in Coventry, where we just house doctors. Yeah. And then we've got in Birmingham where we're housing just homeless people, literally people off the streets. You wouldn't be able to tell the difference between the two because the standard, the quality, the standard of the product is the same. Okay.
So, obviously we spoke about, how many, you're very open with this, by the way. So obviously we spoke about you've got over 400 rooms. Yeah. How many deals does that stretch across, and what is your typical deal size? Are they like typically 5 beds or 6 beds? Or?
Yeah. So it's over 40 houses now. Okay. I'm not too sure specifically how many houses, to be honest with you, because I just work in numbers, and even on my property software, it's just numbers. It's just like the number of rooms that we have. It's over 40 now.
So that's over 40 rent-to-rent deals, guys. That is a lot of rent-to-rents.
Yeah. And then also as well, some of them are big, some of them are small. So some of them are 4 beds. We've got like 13 beds. I'm currently trying to close at the moment a 17 bed. Okay. So I've noticed now, I'm trying to steer away from like the little 4-bed properties. I'm going for the bigger deals because we've got the team around me that can deal with it, that can manage the refurb effectively and quickly.
Do you not like the smaller ones? What's the
I
reason
can.
behind the bigger ones?
I just feel like the bigger ones, it takes us the same amount of stress. So the same amount of stress, and then from a business point of view, they're obviously more profitable as well.
Okay.
And also as well, what I tend to find is the bigger the property is sometimes the landlord can't, which is weird. The landlord owns the property, but sometimes they don't have the budget to be able to refurb it because the client that they're going to have in the property, it's not the same as social housing.
Yeah.
So because I know that I'm getting paid directly from the government for social housing, and because the value that we're providing to the tenant is higher, it just means we get paid more money.
Yeah.
Essentially, so I will have the budget to maybe invest a little bit more, invest in that property, and bring the property to a higher standard than maybe the landlord has.
Because it's very weird, because obviously I'm on this side of it where I am obviously a landlord, property owner. I don't do rent to rents. I do just purchasing and turning the properties into HMOs.
Yeah.
And then sometimes I lease my ones to social housing providers.
Yeah.
But because you're working in near Birmingham, Wolves, and different areas,
Yeah.
I can't really give you my properties.
Good, man. Good.
But if you was in Nottingham,
yeah,
I'm sure we'd be doing something.
100%.
But my kind of question would be, in terms of the HMOs that you do, I know you said you're trying to move on to the bigger, slightly bigger HMOs.
Yeah.
Say, for example, the 17 bed, is that an existing HMO, or is that just like a building?
Yeah,
like apartments, or what is it?
Yeah, so that is an existing HMO, but it's in terrible condition.
Okay.
Yeah, I'm going to need to probably spend about 20 grand on it to get it up to scratch.
Okay.
But however, because it's such a big property, 17 bed, the profit on it's going to be really good. And because I've been doing the social housing now for a couple of years, and I believe in the product, and I can see the demands that we have, because essentially we're housing homeless people, and we're housing people that have anxiety and depression as well, which is, since COVID, that's a big thing. So there's a massive demand, and I've even got quite a few rooms. It's like the phone's always ringing.
Yeah.
The phone's constantly ringing. People need our services. Yeah. And you know what's mad? There's not a lot of there's a lot of people doing it, but there's not a lot of people doing it to a good and high standard. So I feel like I need to continue growing.
Yeah.
Because I've got the people are genuinely getting value from our services and our support and our houses as well. So it's a big thing.
I do think that social housing providers, a lot of them get a bad reputation.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
People just think, these providers, they do it just for the profit.
Yeah.
Is that the case?
100%. A lot of them are doing it just for the profit. And what's happened now is the supported accommodation sector, especially in Birmingham, it's under an immense amount of scrutiny. Like, it's just so much scrutiny. We get audits like every week.
Okay.
And these audits are just like, and what they're doing as well, the council, they're shutting down a lot of providers. So we just make sure that our values, we've got a value first mindset. And obviously, you know what I'm like. And even anything that I do, I always think about value first. So what I mean by that is provide the value, don't make it about the money, put the tenant first, put the customer first, put the service user first in everything that you do. And with social housing specifically, you've got to be, it can't be about the money. The money can't be the forefront in your mind, because it's just too much involved in terms of operation wise.
Okay.
Like, if you get a tenant that says, I'm about to kill myself, which is what we've had many times, like, you've got to be prepared to drop whatever you're doing and go and sort that issue out with that tenant. And if it's about the money, you're gonna be sitting at home thinking, oh, I can't be bothered. I can't be bothered to go. I'm chilling now. I'm tired.
Yeah.
But for me, it's a lifestyle. So if a tenant calls me or one of the team at midnight and they've got an issue, or their mental health is at risk and they're about to harm themselves or others, I'm willing to drop whatever I'm doing. I could be having the best night out with friends, or I could be going for dinner with the family, and I'll be willing to drop that to go and sort this.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? So it's a sacrifice.
It's a big responsibility.
Massive responsibility, massive accountability. If someone like commits suicide in your property and it's social housing, and you can't prove that you've given them the right support, you've neglected them, like, do you know what I mean? Like, you've got to live with that. Yeah. So it's like the accountability and responsibility of it is massive, and I try and take it very seriously.
Yeah. Because obviously, we spend a lot of time, off camera, doing day to day. I see how you guys work.
Yeah.
You see how I work and stuff. I think there's lots of similarities in terms of what we're both kind of doing. We're both obviously scaling up.
Yeah.
So, trying to acquire more properties. In your case, trying to acquire. Have you got a certain amount of rooms that you want to get to?
Yeah, man. So I think this year we want to get to like 700 rooms.
Okay.
And that's across the portfolio. So like, I'm still taking on. I don't really take on many normal HMOs in terms of professionals now.
Yeah.
But we still do. We still take on the occasional one, because the game changer with the professionals is I've got that to a stage now where I can systemize it very well. So I've got some properties. For instance, I'm based in Wolverhampton at the moment. In fact, I live in Wolverhampton, but the office now is now relocated to Birmingham. But
Okay.
I've got properties in Coventry, and literally, like last year, for instance, I personally went to the properties like twice for the whole year because it's systemized.
So how many staff members have you got?
There's 9 of us in the team now altogether. Yeah.
And then do you also have are those like 9 employed staff?
Employed, employed.
Do you also have self-employed people
Yeah.
that do, I guess, some of the care work and stuff?
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. So one of the things that we've done lately, because we've been expanding so quickly in the social housing business, and because I'm very conscious that what happens a lot of the time when people expand quickly, they can the back end drops massively. And I was very conscious of that because I think, I want to grow the business, I want to continue expanding. However, this is different to a normal business because we're housing vulnerable people.
Yeah.
People's lives are at risk here. So what I've basically done, I've actually hired a support company, an external company to come in and provide that level of support. So if that just ensures that I can continue finding the properties, growing the business, find the tenants, and doing all that business, but the level of support, the things that really matter, won't drop at all. It won't get affected.
Yeah.
And so they've come in and they're helping us manage the support side, the support element, which is really important to me.
Yeah, definitely. I used to actually do support work myself.
Oh, did you? I didn't know that.
Yeah.
Okay.
So I've worked like one-to-one with a lot of different young people.
Yeah.
I used to try and help them make friends, get outside of the house, change their lives around. So it was I've definitely experienced working with many different types of people.
Yeah.
And I think it's all about the relationships.
100%.
So I guess, is that one thing you're always on the lookout for, right? How are the relationships with the tenants and the staff members?
Oh, yeah, massively. And do you know what? Even though I'm the director of the business, I'm heavily involved in the business. So, most of the tenants, I'll probably say, not all the tenants, but I'll probably say at least 80% of the tenants, I know them personally on a first, on a one-to-one basis where I can go into the house and have a conversation with them and just drop a little bit of motivation, inspire them, interact with them. I think it's really important. I see them as like, you're almost like my responsibility. So it's really important for me to be involved and have that sort of relationship as well.
Yeah, that's really good.
Yeah, man.
Can you share, what does a typical deal look like for yourself in terms of the monthly profit, monthly expenses, and monthly income, that kind of thing?
Of like a social housing deal.
Yeah, so rent to rent, social housing deal, just like a typical deal.
Yeah. So a typical deal we could make let's say, from like a 4-bed property, we could probably make like around £1,500 to £2,000 a month.
Wow.
From that, yeah.
Net profit.
Yes, profit. Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah, profit. But there's a lot. It sounds good, but there is a lot of cogs to turn. So, number one, the first issue can be sometimes it can take up to 6 months to get paid from the council. So you have to be able to sort of bankroll it in between that, and obviously make sure the support workers are coming in and still paying them, bankrolling the house, etc.
Yeah.
And number two, find the tenants as well. So because you're dealing with a local authority, find the tenants and finding tenants that stick around. There's that very high number of tenants. So that would be that's profit if the property's full.
Okay. Yeah.
But
so based on 100% occupancy.
Based on 100% occupancy.
1.5 to £2,000.
Yeah.
That's after you've paid staff, bills, everything.
Yeah.
Okay, cool.
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah, man.
Pretty cool.
Yeah, it's good.
Yeah. So what would you say for people? That are interested in getting into rent to rent themselves? Would you say go down the social housing route, or would you say stay well clear? It's too much headache, too much red tape. Or would you say people can do it and go for it?
I think people can do it, but what I would say, you have to be doing it for the right reasons. Like with me, I'm very passionate about anxiety and depression specifically. So that's what we specialize in.
Yeah.
And we don't take on tenants that don't have So if you have alcohol misuse or drugs, because there's so many different sectors with social housing, it's such a big thing,
Yeah.
and we specialize in what we're passionate about. So it's one of them business where you've got to do it because you're passionate about that specific thing. So it's more of a case of don't just do it for the money, basically, because it's for me. You know what? The money's good, but seriously, if you're not passionate about it, it's not worth doing because there's a lot of headache. You're dealing with people that have mental health issues. So if you're not passionate about people that have mental health and you're not willing to literally sacrifice your life
Yeah.
to look, sort of operate this business, because that's what it's like. You have literally got to. It's a lifestyle essentially. Then it's not worth it. There's lots of other ways you can make money from it, because my normal rent. I've got normal rent to rent deals that make £1,200 a month. Do you know what I mean? And it's passive. I'm going to provide no support. I'm going to wait 6 months to get paid. So do you know what I mean? And that's, you can make money from SAs as well. I know people making more than that from just running a service to accommodation property, which again, there's less headache. So I would say you've got to be passionate about it. You can't just do it for the money, or else you could get yourself into issues.
Yeah. And let's look at the time frame. So, you know, we're on. So let's look at the time frame. So what year was it that you started off?
2018.
2018. We're now in 2023.
Yep.
So, you know, that's a solid 5 years.
Yep.
So you've gone from 0 deals to now, you know, over 40 deals.
Yeah.
And over 400 rooms. What is the goal? Do you mind me saying the company name?
Yeah. Urban Homes.
Urban Homes.
Yeah.
What is the goal for Urban Homes?
Okay, it's just to continue to, like, right now, it's just continue to grow. We want to get to 700 rooms. We want to continue growing the team as well. We just want to help more people, because we can genuinely see the impact that we're making at the moment, and it really is, like, you know what, the success stories that we have, and even with the council, we've got a fantastic relationship with the council, because they can see the impact that we're making. I'm very big on mindset. So I run, you know, the High Performance Academy, and that's all around mindset, health, and wealth. And so, like, when I'm speaking to tenants, and even our values for the business, we've got the same sort of ethos and the same sort of vibe through that as well. And so it's like the success stories we have are great. People homeless, living in their car, and now back into society, off the drugs, if they was on drugs, off the alcohol, off the anxiety and depression, and now contributing to society and being and having a healthy lifestyle. So we've got lots of success stories like that. So for me, I can still see the demand, you know, and also as well, currently we're only operating in the West Midlands.
Okay.
And I believe that we can just take this nationwide. And
worldwide or nationwide?
for now, nationwide.
It's nationwide, worldwide. Oh no, nationwide is just UK.
Yeah. But I really believe we can take this nationwide and also build teams as well.
So was you at one point considering doing something in Dubai, business-wise?
Yes. Yeah.
Was that like a rent to SA kind of thing?
Yes. Yeah. So doing like super luxury holiday homes. Yeah.
Wow.
Because I actually started off doing SA.
Okay.
That's my very first property was a serviced apartment.
Was that in Birmingham?
Birmingham City Centre, yeah.
How did it go?
It went really well, really well. It's a funny story actually with that one, because they took it on. It was doing great. I was probably making around £800 a month from that one. My first one, I was gassed. I was like, wow, this thing actually works. Like, I'm going to scale it. And then I got the contract, and luckily I had a good contract.
Yeah.
Because with SA, a lot of like buildings, plus a lot of apartment buildings, do not allow short-term leases. So anyway, 6 months into this SA, where I was building the brand, getting lots of bookings, had loads of future bookings as well. It was coming close to Christmas and New Year, and I remember we were so busy. I had an email from the management company, and they said, "Oh, we've seen the property on Airbnb, booking.com." I was like, "Yes. What's your point? Like, what's your point? Yeah, you're not allowed to run it. You got 7 days to take it off."
Damn.
I was like, "What?" Contacted the agent. I was like, why is the management company sending me this? Like, we've got, you know, I've got people like booking it. Imagine I had a family booked for Christmas, and I thought, I can't let them down for Christmas. And so anyway, we let it to like the new year, and then we had to give it back, because I thought, you know what, I don't want to be operating a business, and it's like I've got to be like sort of tiptoeing around around the properties I've got and this, that, and the other. I thought it doesn't make sense. But luckily, because our contract was good, and this is why it's so important to have contracts and have the right contracts, because our contract was good, and the landlord and the agent signed it to say you were allowed to run short-term lets from there. We was open and transparent with what we were doing from the very start. So we look, this is what we're doing with the property. They agreed to it. So they essentially was able to sort of buy us out and buy the furniture and things like that, and almost reimbursed us. So
that's decent.
Yeah,
because imagine if you wasn't honest with the agent
Can you
or the
imagine?
landlord,
Exactly.
and you received that notification from the the leaseholders of the building. Was that who it was from?
Yeah.
Management.
100%.
Management company.
Yeah.
That was managing the actual building. So that, I guess that was a massive lesson learned.
Massive. So like, I would, after that, I was just like triple checking everything, and I realized that not everyone, just because they're an agent, doesn't mean that they're telling the truth. Doesn't mean that they're honest.
So still do super load of due diligence on
100%. Yeah. You've got to, man.
And even things like planning permission. So in some of the deals that you might have looked at, have you ever found a deal which didn't have the correct planning permission in place for HMO or anything like that?
Loads. So it always happens as well. It's happened multiple times where I've seen a property on Rightmove, and they'll say, it's got a license. So I'm like, okay, can I see the license then, please? And it's like, we can't find it. We just can't. What do you mean you can't find it? And that's why I tell people that even like mentees, I'm like, look, do not take a property on unless you've physically seen the license.
Yeah.
If you can't see the license, if they can't provide the license for you, it means that probably because they haven't got one.
Yeah.
And then you're gonna get yourself into just trouble. And the last thing you want to do is put money into someone else's property, and then it gets taken off you. Do you know what I mean?
That's it. And I even know people on the purchasing side that have purchased a property thinking they're going to convert it into a HMO.
Yeah.
They've purchased it. They've then realized, it's in an Article 4 area. They bought the property for 170 grand.
Yeah.
Thinking, I'll do this as a 6-bed. But now they've realized, oh crap, they can't turn it into a HMO.
Man.
So now they've just bought a very expensive single let, which they can only rent for minimum.
Yeah. Man.
And they can't really do it as service accommodation because of the area. So they're in a bit of a mess there. Obviously, there's always property's quite forgiving.
Yeah.
It's quite a forgiving, asset class. But still, everyone, make sure you do your due diligence. Make sure you check planning permission, check licensing, because those two are completely separate things, planning and licensing. So I think that's a key takeaway from today's podcast as well.
Yeah, man, 100%.
Yeah,
100%.
So Shaun, what about you personally? What are your personal goals?
Oh, good question. One of my personal goals is right now is I'm trying to be a high performer in all areas of my life.
Okay.
So I'm really taking my health seriously. We're nothing without our health. Do you know what I mean? We're nothing without our health. I'm taking my mindset really seriously, my mental health seriously, because again, your mental health, everyone suffers with mental health on some shape or form. It's just at different levels. So because and I'm more aware of this now, this is one of the things that where the social housing is really sort of made a positive impact on me, because I've got service users, and I've got service users that were at the top of their game, that had businesses.
Wow.
They was married, everything was going well for them, and then one thing happens, and then bang, it's like a switch. It's like, wow, mental health kicks in, triggers, and they essentially hit rock bottom. And so I'm very conscious. I'm very grateful for where I am. I don't like to put myself on a pedestal at all. I don't see myself as special or anything like that. I just see myself as someone who's working very hard, very goal driven, very target driven, and I'm just putting myself first, because once you put yourself first, you can be of more value to everyone else around you.
Yeah.
And you can be more valuable. And I always say as well, you can't pour from an empty cup. So you've got to make sure that you're filling up your cup as well. Every day, I'm trying to work on myself 1 hour mentally. So mentally, podcasts, reading books, do a lot of reading as well, personal development books, that's great. And also 1 hour physically. So I'm like 21 weeks into the gym now. It's been like a game changer for me. Helps to recalibrate my mind, helps to just relax my mind, and more importantly, it helps to close the tabs down. So as you well know, when you're in the business, it's like you've got 1,000 tabs open in your mind, And that in itself can actually cause headaches because your mind's always working. It can affect your sleep. Having that downtime where I can just sort of switch off, forget about work, recalibrate my mind, close the tabs down. It's a game changer. And for me now, it's actually become a non-negotiable for me to do that.
Yeah.
Like I have to do that. That's one of my daily goals, and it's something I'm taking very seriously.
Because we're talking about downtime.
Yeah.
We obviously met in Dubai.
Yeah.
We were both on a holiday in Dubai. Good vibes. You had a yacht. Well, you hired out a private yacht.
Yeah.
We all met up on the yacht. It was good vibes.
Oh, it was so good, man. We used to do it again soon, man.
Yeah, for
We're
sure.
overdue.
Yeah, for sure. So, you know, I know you like traveling and stuff. Would you say that's quite a good way of switching off?
Oh man, love it. I can't switch off fully unless I'm on holiday.
Yeah. It's
Like-
weird because I'm the same. I can
Yeah.
switch off, but not fully.
Yeah, not fully. I call it semi switching off over here.
Yeah.
It's like my brain, like the back of my mind, I've still got work, and I've still
Yeah.
got. You know what's
A
mad as
to-do
well?
list,
Yeah,
just
still
like
got
in
to do
your
list.
head.
And I'm the sort of person as well. Is I've always. It's like it's a blessing and a curse. It's a blessing in terms of people like us. We get things done, man. Like we get things done, and we get done fast, and we're like once we have an idea. I know you want to say we have an idea of like bang,
Yeah.
like
get it done,
literally just get it done.
Yeah.
And it's mad. But then on the other side, it's a case of like sometimes you do want to switch off, but you can't. Sometimes I do. Sometimes I'll be chilling with. I'll be like with my family, and there's something. I've got a really big family, and there'll be like 20 of us just having a chat. And sometimes I'm like, man, I really just want to like switch off. I really want to stop thinking about work, thinking about what I'm doing tomorrow, thinking about a meeting I've got, thinking about next week, thinking about the projects I've got going on. I just really want to switch off and just literally just be present in the moment. And I just can't. It's mad. Do you feel the same as well?
I do, yeah. I do get that, you know. I really do. But I think it's a balance, isn't it?
a balance,
because
yeah,
that's
yeah.
also a gift and a curse. Because the fact that you are very, very driven, you're always, you know, trying to grow your company and always trying to be a high performer. It's really good in a lot of aspects, but it does have its downsides too.
Yeah, 100%.
Like you can feel. I don't know if you feel this. Sometimes feel a bit of an outcast. Like you're a little bit different.
Yeah.
It's a little bit different in the way you think.
Yeah.
So
But then on the other side, I look at it as, you know what? Short-term pain, long-term gain.
yes.
Like 100%. Be willing to sacrifice. Because the thing is, you can't expect to be super successful and not sacrifice anything. And I think that's where people go wrong. That you're not willing to make the sacrifice. And also as well, you got to think to yourself, people that are competing against us, for instance, if you're in the same game as us, you're trying to compete against a property, buy a property with you, trying to get a leasehold property, like compete with me, because we're on it all the time. And there's other people like us, there's lots of other people like us. It's very hard if you're not on it, if you're not operating at the same sort of intensity and the same sort of level. Essentially, you're gonna get missing out.
That's it.
So it's almost like once you're in that game, it's almost like you haven't to, for you to succeed and for you to get anywhere, you have to sort of operate at a high level anyway.
Yeah, for sure.
It's like you're almost forced to do it, or else you're just not going to succeed.
Yeah, exactly. And I think one thing that's been helping me lately is the whole thing about enjoying the process.
Yeah.
Of remembering that, you know, you've got to enjoy the journey rather than just the destination.
That is a journey.
Because let's face it, when you hit that 700 rooms, you're not going to be any more happy than right now, you know?
Yeah.
So I think it's about, obviously, when you hit the goals, it's like, you get that dopamine, you get that feeling. But then I think it's about enjoying every single day. And
100%. You've hit the nail on the head. For me, you've got to be obsessed with the process. You've got to almost fall in love with the process, like, because that's where you get the most enjoyment. On pursuit of your goals, that's where you grow the most. And it's in pursuit of your goals where you will get the most growth as well.
Yeah. And it's like a satisfaction feeling.
Yeah, 100%.
And, I think one thing that's really helped me is basically as soon as you wake up in the morning, I basically list off in my head all the things I'm grateful for.
Yeah.
So practicing the gratitude really helps your days go better. And I literally try and do this every single day. Granted, I don't do it every day. Sometimes I forget. But most days I've gotten a habit.
100%.
As soon as I wake up, I'm doing the gratitude. Then I'm watching my visualization videos, which you can find on my channel. Just click on videos and scroll down. You'll see them. And that's a good way of people starting the day right.
Game changer. Like I listened to something of Steve Harvey, and it was so true. He said that your brain can't process being miserable and grateful at the same time.
Okay.
So basically, when you wake up and like you feel miserable, it's literally write down 15 things that you're grateful for, and by the time you get to like 7,
Yeah.
like nearly halfway there,
Yeah. It
it's
proper
like,
starts the day right.
and you think, wow, like I'm grateful for all these things. I've got a lot going on for me, so I can't be miserable when I've got so much to be thankful for.
Exactly. And
So-
and it's not about materialistic things. A lot of the
Mm.
time I'm saying thanks for like certain family members, friends, people in my life, and list off why you're grateful for those people.
Yeah,
Like
100%.
their characteristics or personality traits they've got that you're thankful for.
Yeah,
And list those off. And
100%.
Game changer.
100%. Even with yourself, like the fact that like
Yes.
you've woken up, you're still healthy.
Yeah.
There's always someone in a worse situation than you.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? So like that in itself, it's like, wow, I'm thankful. Like I'm alive, I'm healthy, I'm fit.
Yeah.
I can go to the gym today.
Yeah.
The fact that you get to go to the gym, that in itself, it means that you've got strength.
That's it.
Do you know what I mean? It's
And
like,
what's your thoughts on like the law of attraction? Have you implemented that in your life?
yeah. So like I'm religious, like Christian. So, like praying to God, I think that's important. Having a relationship with God, I think that's really important. And I feel like. So what was your question? Visualization or
No, law of attraction.
law of attraction?
Do you believe in it? Do you think it's a load of baloney, or do you think it's real?
No. I think it's real. I think it's very, very real. I feel like the law of attraction is like when you're visualizing something, and because you've got to visualize it. If you can't visualize it and you haven't got a vision, like I'm very big on vision boards.
Yeah.
So I've got a vision board and I look at it every single day, and that for me is the law of attraction because it's like I'm almost seeing into the future.
Yeah.
And when you're visualizing it, what happens even on a subconscious level, you're gonna condition your mind to spot the opportunities.
That's it. And it's almost like you're focusing on what you do want rather than what you don't want.
Exactly.
Because a lot of people, they go through the day to day, they're thinking about, I'm going to get fined with this parking fine. I'm going to do this. They're focusing on all the things that they don't want to happen rather 100%. Than what they actually want.
Yeah.
And if they can just spend more time in their headspace thinking about, picturing themselves in these different situations, good things happening to them, it will come. And because it's the energy you're putting out there. Yeah. So it sounds a bit wishy-washy, but when you start practicing,
it works. 100%.
It fully works. Like I've been doing it for the last 6-7 years. When I started out, I thought you just visualize, and it all just come to you. But you have to put the work in.
You got to put the work in.
Well. You've got to do the action.
Yeah, the action. That's the bit people. That's the thing people miss out. So like, some people are a little bit like woo about it. So they will just think, if I just manifestation, if I just sit and meditate, and all these things are just gonna land in my lap, and that's not the way the world works. Like you've got to go out there and you've got to get it. Yeah. Nothing's gonna land on your lap.
Yeah, and it's God's timing as well.
100%. Yeah.
You can't say. I don't think. Well, you can say when actually, because I've heard people. That Jim Carrey.
Yeah.
He wrote like a date on a check, and for like £20 million. Yeah. And then on that the day before or something, it came in.
Because he's working towards it.
Yeah.
It's like with me. So imagine I started the business.
Yeah. I
put a date that I was gonna leave my job.
Yeah.
So I was only 2 months out. So that's the thing about like being God's timing. So like I put the date. The date was the 20th of December 2019. I started the business in August 18. I said 20th of December 2019. Very specific date. That's the date I'm gonna leave my job. And it didn't come. But what happened is by me setting that date, it just meant I had a goal.
Did you write this down?
I wrote it down. I even told people. Yeah. I wrote it on my calendar. I told people, I said, hold me accountable. Yeah. There's always people holding me accountable, asking me, you're getting close to the day, So I felt the pressure of thinking, man, like this day is coming. Like I've got to like work even harder. I can't give excuses. I need to do it. Yeah. And I didn't hit it, but 2 months after, I left my job. So I hit it 2 months late. However, I truly believe that if I didn't set that date, I wouldn't have had the urgency I needed to take. So I think setting goals and setting a time on it, and also having people hold you accountable is very important.
Yeah. And I think with the goals, everyone's got their own way of setting goals. Yeah. One way I like to do it is every year. I set yearly goals. Yeah. And then I have it on my screensaver of my phone. Yeah. So
that's what I do as well.
As soon as I wake up, boom, got it right there.
Yeah.
It's the first thing I'm going to see when I look at my phone.
Yeah.
And my biggest goal, I'd say, is trying to get to 30 properties.
Sick.
Um,
Yeah, I love that.
Currently on track for about 21.
Yeah,
We've got 15 now, buying 6 more, so we should end up on 21 over the next few months.
so smash that.
But I've still got 9 more to get in the pipeline
Yeah,
to complete before December.
December.
Well, the end of December.
Yeah,
So yeah,
yeah, man.
hopefully.
Yo, we'll have
We'll
to do
see.
we'll have to celebrate big when you hit that.
Oh yeah, for sure.
Mhm.
But Shaun, thank you so much for coming on today.
Yeah, man, pleasure.
For anyone that does want to get in contact with Shaun or Urban Homes, then you can find all of Shaun's social medias and links to his websites, etc. in the description of this video. Remember guys, smash the like button, like, comment, subscribe, and I'll see you all very soon.